My neighbor wants to control what I wear in my house, by user dear_fault_67. So Wednesday I, 16F, was sick. I had a fever and just felt really bad, so I stayed home from school and was spending most of the day lying in bed, but around noon I moved to the living room couch cause it was getting really hot in my room and it was cool in the living room. And some context, our living room is filled with large windows on two walls, one points to the street in front of the house and the other to my neighbor's house on the left of our house. So I went to the couch and I still felt hot, so I took off my shirt. At that point I was only wearing short shorts and my bra. So I was lying down for a few minutes when there was a knock on the door and my mom went to go answer it. The living room is right next to the door, so it wasn't hard to hear the conversation. So my mom opened the door and the neighbor, who we'll call Karen, was there and said, "Hi Susan, my mom, if you need clarification, how are you doing? I came over to tell your daughter to cover up." My mom then reasonably said, "Excuse me," to which Karen replied, "Yes, it's kind of weird what she's doing, exposing herself like that." My mom, now a bit less patient, said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know that you could tell me what to do with my kids in my house." Karen then replied, "Oh no, that's not what I'm trying to do, it's just that my husband's office is right across your windows and it's hard for him to concentrate on work when there's a naked teen on the other side of his window." My mom, just about as dumbfounded as I was at this point, told Karen, "Okay, 3 things. First, my daughter's not naked, and even if she was it wouldn't matter because she lives here and she can wear whatever she wants. Second, what is your husband, a 45-year-old man, doing looking at my 16-year-old daughter in her underwear? And third, get off my property because we're done here." And with that, my mom slammed the door in Karen's face. My mom saw the husband later that day when he was taking out the trash. She told him to stop looking at me through the windows. He was confused and my mom explained what happened and he said, "I didn't work from home today." He then apologized for his wife and went inside, and we haven't heard from them since then. And on Thursday my mom bought curtains for the living room windows. So yeah, that was my encounter with our neighbors. Update: Entitled Mill can't believe she will have to pay for her own housing, by user agent 229. Update to my post. She got an apartment. It's a really nice efficiency close by to our house, new windows, new mini split for heat and cool, utilities included, safe area. Ground floor, hardwood floors. It's freaking perfect. With Section 8, she will only have to pay $150 a month. We went to go see it yesterday, should be able to sign lease on Monday. Well, guess what? I don't like it. We told her she doesn't have a choice. She kept pestering the property manager about which direction the windows faced and decided she needed windows that face a different way. Choosing beggar much, now she's pouting and avoiding us and loudly yelling to herself about how she's in a horrible mood and generally moaning. I cannot wait to move her out and deep clean and take our space back. Update: I told my father that his new girlfriend will never be welcome at my home, by user quick_potato_2810. Hey, everyone. I posted on Ida about a week ago. It got deleted, but I reposted it on my page. I've mostly solved the situation since then. There are some things I think I should clarify about my relationship with my father first, so this might get long. I can't be the first to say this, but Reddit is by no means a place to accurately describe any type of relationship in full detail, especially a familial one. So those who said I don't like my father or don't approve of his lifestyle are jumping to conclusions. I love my father very much, and I'm grateful for everything he's done for me. But yet, he's an asshole. We've had a rough relationship since I was a kid. It got much better after I moved out, mostly because we both realized we wouldn't have any relationship whatsoever if we didn't make efforts to change. As much as my father has become a better person, he still has some extremely narcissistic tendencies that make themselves obvious every now and then. The one that's the most relevant in this situation is the fact that he is terrible with boundaries. I came up with a metaphor in the comments on my previous post that I think illustrates this. He wants a door. I give him a window instead. He says he's fine with the window. Next thing I know, he's throwing rocks at the window until it's big enough to be a door. Not the best metaphor I've ever written, but I think it applies. And I want to add that one of the main reasons our relationship was so rocky when I was younger was because I had no means of restoring the window. Now that we don't live together and I pay my own bills, it's gotten easier to either stop him from throwing the rocks or not give him windows in the first place. On that note, my father is a pretty hands-on grandfather. We only see him once a month, but he FaceTimes me frequently and the kids love him. So introducing new girlfriends as grandpa's friends, as many suggested, wouldn't work. We tried it once, and they blew their cover in less than an hour. Also, it's not that I don't approve of my father's lifestyle, I simply don't care. I'm 33 years old. I have a job, a husband, and 2 children. My father's dating habits are neither my business nor my concern. He can date anyone he wants, for as long as he wants, as long as everyone is over 18 and not a complete monster. What I do care about is how this affects my children. I've been dealing with my father's revolving door since I was 10. Back then, his relationships tended to last at least 2 years, but it still took a toll on both me and my younger sister. The first woman my father dated after the divorce was insane and ruined my childhood. The next one was amazing, but didn't stick around for long. The following one was unpleasant. The list goes on. I don't want my children to go through this lack of stability. I'm carrying that baggage, they don't need to know how heavy it is. The last thing I want to add here is that my father has another major problem. He is obsessed with both pleasing everyone and the idea that I have to please everyone. That almost ruined our relationship completely when I was younger. And sadly, he hasn't really let go of that yet. The former is why he defended his 2022 girlfriend. I explained what happened on the repost I made, and the latter is the reason he was so pissed at me for banning his new girlfriend after the party fiasco. Okay, on to the actual update. My father and I had a minor fight over the phone about what happened at the party on Monday. 2 days later, his new girlfriend called me. She asked me why I'd banned her from my home before even meeting her or introducing my children. I told them to leave before the kids saw them. I asked her if she knew about my 12-month rule. Not only did she know, but she also insisted that my father break the rule anyway. She said she was great with kids and knew my children would love her, so she thought it wouldn't be a big deal for me to make an exception for her. I came very close to hanging up on her when she said that. The whole reason I even came to Reddit was because I thought I was being unfair to her, but this made it clear to me that she was also in the wrong. Instead, I decided to explain the 2022 incident. She didn't know about it. When I was done, she said she understood why the rule was created and apologized for trying to break it. I called my father the next day. I told him about the chat I'd had with his girlfriend, and he confirmed everything. He took her to the party because she wanted to go and he wanted to make her happy. We had a very long discussion that almost escalated into a fight. I reminded him of the reasons my rule existed. The only one he truly deemed valid was the 2022 incident, which he's still ashamed of. The discussion touched many other topics, but the main one was that my children are the priority. I told my father that my main concern is protecting them, and I won't hesitate to cut anyone off, including family, if it means doing so. In the end, he agreed to deal with the consequences. His new girlfriend will be allowed to meet my kids at the 12-month mark, but she won't be welcome at my place. But if he tries to pull this stunt again, they'll both be cut off. We ended the call on a cold note, but he called me again on Friday. He apologized for everything, and said I was a great mother. I can tell when he's being sincere at this point, so I accepted the apology. Knowing my family, I don't think there will be any problems with this for a while. And if there are, I've got it covered. I think this will be my last post. Thank you all for the support and encouragement you've given me. Parents offered to pay the down payment on a house only if I don't move away from them, by user Lost in Paradise 12. I'm 34M with wife and a baby on the way that is living in a HCOL area. Both my wife and I are highly educated but not high income earners due to the lack of opportunities in our city. We're currently living in Santa Barbara, CA, and it's beautiful here and we realized we're privileged, but we've been planning on moving to Boise, ID, so we can provide our baby a childhood outside of a one-bedroom apartment. My parents are ecstatic about the baby and are sad that we plan on moving. So they offered to pay 20% down payment for a house, which would be about $200,000, to entice us to staying in Santa Barbara. Unfortunately, even if they did give us that generous gift, we wouldn't be able to afford the mortgage. So I offered a compromise that we would move to a closer and not out-of-state city and they could give us $100,000 instead, and they flat out refused, saying anywhere more than 30 minutes away would disqualify us for any gift from them. I know I am not entitled to the money and I was not expecting it at all. I have never received financial assistance from them after high school and paid for my own college. I'm a non-traditional student, so I went to college later. But they're very well off, and $200,000 is what my dad earns in 6 months on investment income alone, plus he has a business that's thriving. I feel entitled just typing this out, but if they have money to spare SND and intention to help us, shouldn't it come without strings attached? I feel like they've offered an impossible situation and taking it out on me because I don't seem grateful enough. Entitled great-grandfather who was absent for my childhood magically appears now that he's old, by user Dirtabertle. My great-grandfather, who is now 90 years old, reconnected with my grandma about 20 years ago after being absent for most of her life. He was an abusive father to her during her childhood. I've only seen him about 8 times in my entire life, and he's never bothered to attend any of our childhood birthdays or even call. No one was preventing him from contacting us, my siblings, grandma, parents, and myself. Within the last 5 years his wife passed away and he has since become quite burdensome on my grandma, his daughter. Recently, my grandma had knee replacement surgery, and instead of being supportive from a distance, he invited himself to stay at her place, making the situation even more burdensome for her. Now, my mother is pressuring me and my siblings to attend a dinner with him, emphasizing that he's getting old and that family should make an effort. However, I'm struggling with this. I feel like it's unfair for my mother to expect me to make an effort for someone who never bothered to be a part of our lives until his sunset years. How do I communicate this to my family without coming across as an inconsiderate, emotional jerk? I want to be respectful of their feelings but also stand firm in my decision. Any advice or similar experiences would be greatly appreciated. Thanks in advance.